Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for October 4th. October 4th is the 277th day of the year in the Gregorian Calendar, 278th in leap years, with 88 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is acronym. We touched on this a little bit yesterday when we talked about initialisms or alphabetisms, which are composed usually of the first letters, could be other letters, usually the first letters in a phrase, but are pronounced as the individual letters like FBI. An acronym, though, is a word that is made from letters from a phrase, which in themselves also make a word. For example, SCUBA stands for Self-Contained Underwater Breathing Apparatus, or NATO, which stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or HIPAA, which stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Acronyms. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes right down below there. Ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others. You can do that with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. Be sure and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, there is a link in the show notes to the This Day in History playlist, and I'll also link that in iCards right up there in the corner for you. That said, we're going to start on October 4th in the year 23 AD, when rebels sacked the Chinese capital during a peasant rebellion. The first complete modern English translation of the Bible, known as the Coverdale Bible, was printed on October 4th, 1535. Now, there had been Old Testaments and New Testaments printed in English before this, and Psalms, of course, but this was the first complete printed translation into English of the Bible. The Gregorian Calendar was introduced by Pope Gregory XIII on October 4th, 1582. This is the birthday of French artist Jean-François Millet, born October 4th, 1814. He was part of what is known as the Barbizon School, which was a movement of more realism in art. Millet is especially known for his paintings of peasant farmers and landscapes. He's best known for his oil paintings, but he also worked in pastel, Conte crayon, which is similar to pastel but with more of a hard wax base, and he also did etchings. Jean-François Millet lived to the age of 60. This is the birthday of the 19th President of the United States, Rutherford B. Hayes, born October 4th, 1822. He lived to the age of 70. On October 4th, 1824, Mexico adopted a new constitution and became a federal republic. This is the birthday of American painter, sculptor, and illustrator Frederic Remington, born October 4th, 1861. A remarkable artist, he worked in watercolor and oil painting, drawings, and sculpture. He was an amazing and prolific artist. He got a lot done in his all too brief 48 years, but he died of complications from an emergency appendectomy in 1909. The Agricultural and Mechanical College of Texas opened as the first public college in Texas on October 4th, 1876. The first run of the Orient Express took place on October 4th, 1883. This is the birthday of American film actor, director, and producer Buster Keaton, born October 4th, 1895. Buster Keaton lived to the age of 70. This is the birthday of Charlton Heston, born October 4th, 1923. He acted in almost 100 films in a career spanning about 60 or so years. Charlton Heston lived to the age of 84. On October 4th, 1927, a man named Gutzon Borglum began sculpting Mount Rushmore. Norman Rockwell's Willie Gillis character debuted on the cover of the Saturday Evening Post on October 4th, 1941. This is the birthday of author Anne Rice, born October 4th, 1941. She has written in several genres and under several pen names, but is best known for her series of novels, The Vampire Chronicles. Several of her works have been made into movies as well. Anne Rice turned 79 in 2020. Wow, 79. Holy cow. This is the birthday of actress Susan Sarandon, born October 4th, 1946. She's been in a lot of movies, plays, TV shows, but she gets a mention from me because of her part in the baseball movie Bull Durham. Big surprise, right? Susan Sarandon turned 74 in 2020. I likes me some baseball, I does. This is the birthday of actor Armand Assante, born October 4th, 1949. His features lend to a sinister look that makes him a popular choice for parts as tough guy heroes and gangsters. He has a lengthy filmography and turned 71 in 2020. This is the birthday of Swiss harp player Andreas Vollenweider, born October 4th, 1953. I've been listening to him since I first heard his album Down to the Moon back in the late 80s, early 90s. I've placed a link in the show notes to a performance of Down to the Moon, along with a link to his actual YouTube channel. Give him a listen. Let me know what you think. Andreas Vollenweider turned 67 in 2020. Sputnik 1 became the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth on October 4th, 1957. The current Constitution of France was adopted on October 4th, 1958. Just a reminder that it's still hurricane season. On October 4th, 1963, Hurricane Flora killed 6,000 people across the Caribbean. On October 4th, 1965, Pope Paul VI began the first papal visit to the Americas. The Protocol on Environmental Protection to the Antarctic Treaty was opened for signatures on October 4th, 1991. Goodness, the second largest cash robbery in U.S. history took place in North Carolina on October 4th, 1997. $17.3 million in cash. The FBI were called in because even though this took place at an armored car business, most of the cash involved belonged to banks, technically making it a bank robbery, which is a federal offense. It didn't take any time at all for the FBI to tune in to the most likely suspects. The suspects didn't help themselves much either, spending too much money and behaving suspiciously. One of the participants, for example, got tired of making frequent small deposits to her bank and asked the teller, "How much can I deposit before you have to report it to the feds?" Followed by, "Don't worry, it's not drug money." Well, I guess it wasn't drug money, but the interchange prompted the bank to fill out a suspicious activity report. Seems like the people who don't handle money well when they're broke don't really seem to handle it all that much better when they get some. Anyway, the first arrest took place on March 1st, 1998, not quite 6 months after the robbery. 7 more arrests were made the following day, and ultimately 9 other friends and relatives were also charged with money laundering. Wikileaks was launched on October 4th, 2006. And I think that's going to do it for us today. I hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. No, I always do. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you like this series, this format, you can check the playlist in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll put a link up in the iCards as well. If you're watching on Vimeo, it would just be in the show notes. Let's see what else. I think that's about it. Yeah. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Okay, get serious here. I wonder if we put that about there. Yeah, that's good. Okay, one more time. More than one more time. boy, this is going to be a long edit. That sounds like a pretty ambitious project. Okay, just leave that part out. Not the first day, but the birthday. I guess the birthday is the first day. This is what happens when you don't clean up your script. I might leave that part out. I don't know how all that's going to go together, or if it's even going to make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not going to go. Yeah, we're going to cut those out. And that'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video. We'll see. Changing it up.